Welcome to Drop the Mask. I'm Christy Miller Howard, and this is a space for honest, heart centered conversations. Many of us carry stories, others don't understand. That's that judgmental that people tend to have, and that's okay. We don't right or wrong them. Some walk away, and some are amazed when we rise up, like the phoenix. Here, I honor stories of individuals that are from all walks of life, different states. Some I've never even met, but I've just connected with them, and it's just sort of like, yeah, let's have a conversation because I love having deep conversations. So once we uncover our masks, we uncover the why and step into the strength of vulnerability, and so others know that they're not alone. So let's begin with my guest, Julie Kessler. And Julie, you're here in Arizona, which I
Correct.
am now. For no, I don't plan on moving again since I moved 13 times in eight times in 13 years. So when we were talking about dropping the mask when I first started this, you're like, I can relate.
Yeah.
This is me. Let's chat. And
Yeah.
I'm all about when people can relate to me,
Yeah.
or relate to the topic that I mean, it's an intense topic. People don't like to drop the mask. And I
Mhm.
spent my whole life, pretty much into my mid 40s, with so many different masks. I once
Mhm.
had 450 pairs of shoes, and I probably had a mask for every pair of shoes.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the why it connects with you and where you started to see that you were wearing masks and why you believe that you were wearing the masks and where you're going without a mask. The
Like you,
platform's all yours, babe.
thank you. Like you said, thank you for having me, first of all.
Absolutely.
Um, and just so I met you on Facebook. Somehow we were
Mhm.
meant to connect. So maybe you were telling your story a little bit. I'm like, oh, I can totally relate. That's how we connected. I definitely believe there are no coincidences.
Absolutely not.
So, and like you, I am sick of having a mask on. Um, I I was raised to have a mask on. Um, I have two parents that have been married like 60 something years. My mom was 19 when she got married. My dad was 24. And they definitely raised me, different generation, but they raised me that your handsome prince takes you away on a horse and you live happily ever after and you have 2 point whatever kids and you just walk like ducks, and your white picket fence house.
And you sweep everything underneath the carpet. Nobody
Yes, you
knows anything that's going on
do.
in the house.
Yes, anything that's not pretty, we just sweep it in. Absolutely. And that's a term I use as well. So I was going on with my life that way. It seemed to go, like when I went to college, I was supposed to get my MRS and I luckily found someone before I graduated. So whew, I was
Got
on
that
to my happily
MRS.
ever after.
Yeah.
Yes, I did it. A little later than my mom, but 21 wasn't bad, right? Anyway,
A
so
lot better than me, 59.
excuse me, that was one time I had two marriages, so I have
Okay.
two.
There you
Yeah,
go.
so what happened, I guess I can share that real quick is so, of course I was determined to find someone. And the summer of 87, before I graduated college, we went to Washington, D.C. for this conference. And my parents it was a family trip. To make a long story short, I did not want to stay over the summer. My sister did, but I'm like, I want to go home. I want to take some classes, work, whatever. Then I got there and I'm like, ooh, I see some cute guys here. I think I want to stay. So guess what? My pops was able to fix it and he found me an internship.
Perfect.
So, oh yeah. So I didn't have, and again, they meant well, but they saved me from anything. They didn't want us to get sick, stolen, hurt, whatever, right? So we always had the parachute, very close to falling. They just didn't want us to fall, or for whatever we could do to fix anything or make it look good, family pictures, a long time ago, like Facebook pictures, the fakeness of that.
Yeah.
So luckily, woo, I got to stay there. And guess what? I met the man of my dreams there. Hello. Lucky
There you go.
me. So, to make a long story short, That was it. I was smitten. And he actually was from the Midwest. I'm from or the East Coast, and I'm from the West Coast. I'm a native Arizonan. You
Okay.
can take the girl out of Arizona, but you can't take the Arizona out of the girl. So what happened was, what I learned is you stand by your man. My man wanted to move to the nation's capital, so I followed him blindly to the nation's capital, not even thinking about myself. I didn't even I did marketing because my dad did marketing. I just copied,
Yep.
copied, 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 and was in the sorority. He was in the brother fraternity. I mean, whatever I could do to copy. And like I said, just masking so people would like me. And how do you want me to be? Okay. Fawning or whatever, that kind of stuff. So I followed my man to DC, didn't even think about would I ever want to live there. It was
Right.
fast,
Yep.
cold.
It's a
I
big
am
difference.
Big
DC.
difference. Big difference. And you can't love alone, especially when only one person is working on it. I found that out too. So to make a long story short, he did go to law school and I was kind of, I was with him during that. And then the dust settled. I'm like, this is not good. We didn't get along very well. There's a lot of arguing, which I wasn't used to in my family because my parents argued behind closed doors. So I didn't know that you even argued. It sounds naive, but I truly thought that everything works out. Anyway, so I finally
Again, it's a different generation.
it is. And again, I know my parents did the best they could with the
Mhm.
information they had, and it definitely affected me, negatively that I had to figure out for myself. But
Yep.
again, I'm not perfect. I'm imperfect raising imperfect children as well. So again, no blame,
There's
just how it
there's no
was.
there's no
No
book
blame.
for how to be the perfect
No,
parent.
no. And everyone does their best, I think, most people to try to be a good human.
Mhm.
But, just when you know better, you do better, Maya
Right.
Angelou. Anyway, so what happened was the dust settled, and I'm like, I can't do this. He didn't want to leave. He didn't want to go back to Arizona. I didn't want to stay. We were both like immature kids putting our feet into the ground. Anyway, I had to leave. I finally had to leave, even though my parents were divorce was not something that happened in our family. But I'm
Yep.
like, you know what? I have to save myself. So I grabbed my cat, my Saturn, and went back to Arizona to glue my life back together. And I felt um broken because we don't get divorced. So I was tarnished. I'm a divorcee, 29-year-old divorcee.
Yeah.
So trying to get my life back together, like gotta meet someone, right? My clock's ticking and all this kind of stuff. And it also looks bad too. It's like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna fix the situation? Um, so I don't know if I'm giving you too much
Oh,
information.
nope, 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 nope.
Okay, we're just going.
We're
Um,
just going.
we're going. Anyway, so I'm Jewish actually, so my parents, it was important for me to marry someone Jewish, which I did. And anyway, the second time around, I met someone. I went to like a little Jewish singles event, and I did meet someone, um, my husband that I am married to now, and we have been married for 27 years.
Wow.
Yes, and what I think worked is, first of all, we were both married before, so we quote unquote knew what we were getting into, but you also don't because it's a different person.
Right, right. But you
So
have some
yeah,
experience of like,
I
"Oh,
had
now
some
I know it's like
experience.
living with somebody."
Yes. And I do. And I think in my mind, whether it was probably unconscious, but I knew that arguing, and I just knew that we weren't, I knew that that relationship was wrong. And my parents' relationship isn't right for me, but I had to find that's I think the start of my journey, finding myself. But again, I wasn't conscious of it at the time.
Right.
Was not conscious of it at the time. Luckily I met this guy, so then quick courtship. We met in January, got married in November. My clock was ticking, man. I had to get going. I had to have kids. My sister, who was younger than me, was ahead of me. When I was getting divorced, she was getting married. Then she had a baby. And then I was just getting married. I was one step behind her, and I was supposed to be first at everything. So that was an interesting dynamic. And then divorce was a dirty word, which is an interesting dynamic I had to work with. But anyway, so my husband and I, long story short, I'll go back, but
Yeah.
we both are on the same page. We've had to get to know each other. It took us a long time to get to know each other.
Well,
I
especially
don't,
when you jump the gun and you don't really even know each other, but
yeah,
you're also growing up together.
oh yeah. And truth is, I definitely think it takes time to get to know someone. I still think it is, no matter how old you are. I just happened to luck out because it could have been another problem because I might have just thought he was something else, which he wasn't, like I thought my
Right.
ex-husband was.
Right.
And again, I take full responsibility for my part in that the demise of that marriage. I was naive. He thought he was marrying someone that's just a yes girl, and I was until I wasn't. I married my dad the first time, my mom the second time, and I was my dad. So I'm my dad. So I married my dad, and then I'm my dad the first time.
Yep.
That didn't work out.
Nope.
Now I have my mom, and I'm my dad, which is working out better. But again, I mean, life is not perfect. I don't want to pretend like it is, but
You.
we have just done our best to get to know each other. We're kind of on a spiritual journey. Um, our relationship has ebbed and flowed. You have to have someone that wants to work on it with you. And somehow we've thrived. And again, I'm not going to say it was perfect, but it's perfect for us, and
Perfect.
we're kind of a
Oh,
safe
good.
space for each other to
Right.
be ourselves, and we're different. He will tell you I don't know how to load the dishwasher, which drives him absolutely bananas. I don't have that spatial thing. I'm just joking about that, but the truth is he's neater than I am. He's more of a perfectionist. He's an optometrist. So and I'm just more of a salesy kind of person, like, oh,
Right.
it'll all work out. And that's, I think, what I thought about my marriage. It'll all work out. You just glue things together. And anyway, so I got pregnant pretty quickly. Two
Because your
children.
clock was ticking.
My clock was ticking. I was 33 and 35 when I had my kids, and wow, I thought I would have them in my 20s. So that was, that's as late as I wanted to have them. And you have two kids, so had two kids, two girls. And then life was going pretty well. I had complications with my first daughter. I had borderline gestational diabetes. And I ended up having an emergency C-section,
Oh,
and she had like a fever coming out. So she was distressed. Um, and so fast forward, I had my other kid who I didn't have gestational diabetes. I had a planned C-section because my body was doing the same thing. Obviously, it did not want to want the babies to come out how they were quote unquote supposed to, I guess. My first daughter had challenges in the womb and out, and I do think that that was a factor for some of her health conditions
could
that
be.
she's had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So she was like, she had like stomach stuff, high projectile baby. Anyway, so we had some difficulties with her, but things seemed okay. I didn't know any different, just going along with our ducks, right, until we get derailed, right? So to make a long story short, she ended up she was a dancer, and she fractured her toe in a dance class, and it actually was a simple fracture, and it healed, but she was in terrible pain. So what ended up happening, we found out from a journey seeing doctors and specialists, it's called complex regional pain syndrome. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. It is a horrible, horrible neuropathy.
Oh, well, I know neuropathy. Okay.
Neuropathy, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like it's this horrible nerve condition.
Yeah.
And this happened when she was 14, so a very informative time in her life. And it knocked her off her path,
Yep.
whatever that was. It knocked our whole family off the path. So we had gone through, and that could ruin a marriage too. I'm very well aware of that. Somehow we made it through. I mean, doctors, I mean, it was trying to keep my other daughter going. I think I was on automatic pilot. It
Yep.
was numb. And I was like, I can't even, we couldn't pretend that we had this perfect family, by the way.
Right.
So that was part of becoming real too. So I think the
Starting
divorce
to
was the
shut
first
everything
part.
off, going, I'm not going to be like my
Oh,
parents
yeah.
and shove
Oh, yeah.
everything because this is real life.
I
And
can't
and again,
pretend.
I'm not wronging our parents. That's just
No,
how their
no.
parents were, and it's the generation.
And I will tell you, I've made many mistakes with my kids. Just the human nature. And what I'm trying to do is when I know better, I'm doing better. I'm apologizing for when I made the wrong decisions. And I'm trying to do better. And I'm trying to have real, raw relationships with them. I'm also trying to teach them life wasn't perfect. And if they can't tell from our life that life wasn't perfect, but hopefully they could see us modeling, doing our best to
Right.
be ourselves. Um, to go with what life was giving us. And believe me, it wasn't a perfect box. So,
No.
anyway, so she, after some treatment and journey, she was in remission, which we were grateful for. And then her senior year of high school, she was babysitting a family, and she was walking barefoot in their house, and she stepped on a cactus thorn in their house,
Okay.
um, in the same foot. It went, it was out of remission immediately.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So she was unable to walk on it. Let's just say fast forward, she was on crutches for maybe let's see, 18, let's say 8 years or so. She didn't want to walk on it. It was too painful.
Oh
So
god.
long story short, she's finally, it was in her time and I honor her time. She was ready to start working on it and now she's starting to walk on it and she's doing physical therapy and all she
Good
needs
for
to
her.
do to get through the pain in her time.
And that's what we had, I think that's where the lesson is that
Mhm.
I mean, I don't have children. Again, I didn't
Mhm.
get married until I was 59, way too old to have children. I never had that desire to have children because I was a pain in the ass as a child, and as a teenager and in my 20s and whatever. Um, I honor not only that you acknowledge, apologize or whatever while you're going through that stuff. That is rare. Um, but for the fact that you are allowing your daughter to be her authentic self, to say, hey, I'm not ready. Though some people will be like, again, people judge, people will be like, well, why isn't she off the crutches? Or, why aren't you doing this? Or, everybody wants to get involved in the story, yet they don't want to live the story.
Oh, I like that. That's true. By the way, I did try. It didn't work. She wasn't ready.
Well, okay.
But I learned, but I did at least learn. And I know that it's her journey. I had to stay in my lane. Anyway, continue.
Well, we can only learn if we try.
Mhm,
If we don't
mhm,
try, we don't fail. And if we don't fail, we all fail. And I have uh, he's a Facebook friend, LinkedIn. I'm hopefully going to get him on the show. He's very busy speaking, but he's a coach, and his hashtag fail forward. You got to fail, but you have to go
okay,
forward.
I
And
like
I
it.
love this, because people are afraid of, people get into their fear. So they put on that mask. They say, well, I'm not going to do that because I'm fearful of what could be and how I'm supposed to be in everybody else's view and also in my view, which
Mhm.
we don't know what everybody really thinks unless they're really vocally saying, this is what you need to do. I mean, I was fortunate that my family never said, you have to get married, you have to get married, you have to get married. My older sister who passed away, she got married. My younger sister got married. And I was just like, no, because I had parents like yours. I wanted the relationship my parents had. And so my dad passed away 20 plus years ago, and I wanted that relationship. I know it's not easy because, I saw it, but I wanted that relationship.
Mhm.
Um, and, but I also learned through my journey of, if you don't communicate, if you can't stand in your truth,
Mhm.
then you have no truth. I mean, you're just a puppet.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think, how you're sharing is, you found, how I'm hearing it, on your first marriage. I want to get married, and this is it, and this is how I'm going to go, and I'm going to do it. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this is not what I want to do. This is not who I am, because you're still young, but you're already finding out who you were. I
Yeah.
didn't figure out who I was until I was in my freaking 50s, because I kept on changing that persona.
Oh dear, don't think it. I was just scratching the surface. Trust me, it took me. I'm still working on it, and I no, I definitely. I'm in my 50s right now. I'm 59, so I
Wait until you're 60. It's
definitely.
fabulous.
Okay, thank you. I'm
It
gonna
is.
just embrace because I don't have a
Just a
choice, right?
number.
Just keep going. Yeah, it's
It's
just a
just a
number.
number.
But oh, this is no, this is evolving. This is in my 50s. Absolutely. I mean, I was getting there. I was unconsciously getting there, but now I realize. And, you know, it's actually freeing.
How has it been when have you seen people leaving your life because you're not wearing that mask?
Yes. And I'm a
And
people pleaser. So it makes me sad if you don't like me,
Yep. Yep.
right?
That's yeah. That's why we wore the masks. We'll
Right.
put the
Would you
mask
like
on
it
so
in a
you don't.
boat? And a
Yep.
go, with a
Yep.
whatever, Dr.
Yep.
Seuss. But I saw that I was not like people. Oh, here's what happened. This is a very important part. It is in my book as well, but I'll share a little bit. Um, when I went on a cruise for my friend's 50th birthday. It was a girls' cruise. And I roomed with a friend of mine, and she said to me, she goes, Julie, she goes, we've known each other a long time. And she goes, but you know what? I don't, our kids grew up together, whatever. She goes, but I don't really feel like I know you. And I knew what she meant. So again, this was in my early 50s, so
Yep.
things were slowly getting there. But the thing is, I got to a point now where I'm like, so, people like to go to book clubs, they like to do bunko, what is it, the pickleball. I don't like to do any of that stuff. Part of me feels like, why don't I want to do any of that stuff? But I like more one-on-one and deep conversations. And I'm very busy with my purpose, as it sounds like you are too. And I don't have time for things that I think I should be interested in, but I'm not.
Correct. But we did that for so long.
Yes, we did.
I'll go out to the clubs. I'll do
Yeah,
this, and yeah. I
yeah.
mean, now it's
Just to
like
be in a group, right? Because you're included. Someone invited me to their birthday. They invited me to this, that,
right.
right? Happy
But I
hour.
don't really even like these people. But I'm here. I
Right,
mean,
right.
you know, and I get it because where I'm at right now, it's like I would rather stay at home with my two dogs.
I'm a
Nothing against my
homebody.
friends, but I like the one-on-ones or deep conversations. This
So do
on the
I.
surface stuff, to me, you want to get to know their soul. You want to get to, and like your
Mhm.
friend said, I don't think I really know you.
Yes.
And that's sort of, I bet it was sort of like an aha moment, like, oh, I need to drop some shit here,
Okay.
because this
Heck
person's
yeah.
known me for a long time. So obviously I'm not, and letting them and again, that we have boundaries. We do have boundaries, but it's still somebody, a close girlfriend who says that. You're just, how is your reaction? What did you do?
Well, guess what?
Besides pour a glass of wine and go, let's talk.
Exactly. You know what? I ironically thought I was being had my mask off, but she showed me you need to take off your mask more.
I love it. And how'd that
Um,
feel for you?
it felt good because I'm ready. I'm sick of being small. I'm sick of being small. And I'm sick of pretending my ideas that I like the same things you like and I want to do the same things you do. And I'm gonna do it even if I don't want to. I'll pretend because it looks good. I'm sick of it. I'm too old for that. I have bigger fish to fry. I want to make time for I don't know how long my life's gonna be, right?
Right.
I would say I'm in the metaphorically third chapter of my life and I am trying to make a difference. I want to make good relationships. I want to try to make the world the best I can, like you are right now, while I'm here.
As long as I mean, we've got to. I mean, it's, I look at that every time, when I hit 40, 50, 60, I looked at it as a new chapter because that's really what it is. It's a whole new book, of the ebbs and flows, the good, the bad, and sometimes the truly dark, shitty parts. Um, but when then we hit that next 10 years or decade, oh, I know for me, I can look back and go, holy crap, I'm not that person anymore.
Mhm, mhm.
Because if we don't evolve and if we don't change, and that doesn't mean changing the masks, but if we don't embrace what we go through, we can't help other people. And isn't that
100%.
why we're supposed to? I mean, to me, that's why I feel that that's my destiny, to just help other people. I was talking to a client today, and I help job seekers, and I sort of shared what was going on in my life, which my story will come out eventually, people. Um, and so we started talking, and she's had two crappy jobs. The job market is just, it's a crapshoot. And she goes, I really want to have my own business. And
Mhm.
She goes, I think I want real estate. I said, but you don't like to sell. I'm like, you're going to be in real. She's an EA. And so we started talking about virtual assisting. And then so I like all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, you can do this because I've started 2 businesses. You can do this and this. I visualized her doing what she's doing.
Mhm.
And she looked at me, she's looking at me and I go, yeah, my whole demeanor's changed. I said, you can see this is my passion to help somebody see how powerful they are when they're their true self. I said, and
Mhm.
that's my gift that I've been given late in light. But as long as you keep that mask off, as long as you know, because a lot of people are like, well, they're gonna think this, they're gonna think that. It's like you don't know what they're gonna think, and guess what? They
Who
might not even be
cares?
thinking it.
Who cares?
Exactly, exactly.
And it's
But it
how their life is, right? How
but it
they
takes
judge
a
things.
long time, especially, and it is men and women, to get into that place to stay out of our head
Mhm.
because that's our worst critic.
Mhm.
I call mine Fred from Mr. Rogers because Mr. Rogers would say, come into my neighborhood and watch a train go round and round and round. And that is what the head does. It goes round and round, 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 round. So
Yes.
mine's Fred. So anytime I feel that my head is going into that side, I'll be like,
Mhm.
Fred, go away. Let's go over to
I
my
like that. I
creative
like
side.
that.
Because you're naming it. Because if I start up there and hanging out with Fred, then I'm going to start putting those masks on again. And when we start wearing those masks again, we start getting heavier, we get heavier, depression sets in, we start overthinking, we start, and then people be like, who the hell are you?
Mhm.
Who was that person? But now you're not that person.
Mhm.
And it sounds like, your girlfriend gave you a gift
It
of
did.
actually being so authentically raw of
Mhm.
saying, I don't even know you.
Yep.
So you went from the cruise, and so that was in the 50s.
Yeah.
And you have one book. I know you're writing another book, I believe. No,
Mm.
oh, I thought you
Just
only
have
had.
one book.
You
Sorry.
have one.
No, no.
Okay, well,
Just wrote
maybe
one
now
book.
you're supposed to have another one.
Maybe.
How did you? I guess the word I want to say. How did you feel? I don't like using the word brave. How did you feel to say, this is what I want to do, and I don't care what you have to say? I'm putting this out here.
My book.
Your book and where you're
My
at right
life.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's possibly about when I decided I need to write a book because I'm like, I want to help my younger self. I want to help my kids, anyone that is going through something. Just this mask thing is an epidemic. And if everyone, I always think, if everyone was their true self, what a beautiful world this would be,
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
right?
It would be fabulous.
I know. And and you know what? I'm just gonna say it because it's coming from me. Usually I take off my glasses too, because I'm self-conscious and I think I look better without them.
Oh,
I
I
think I'll
actually feel
just
like I look better with them because my eyes are so small and I don't wear much makeup. But
oh,
now it's just
it's
sort
a
of like,
little blurry, but
yeah.
but my husband's an optometrist, so it's kind of funny. But I was like, I have my glasses on. Maybe I'm just gonna do it. But the truth is, I'm more comfortable without them. So it's a little blurry, but I can see it. And I'm not wearing makeup right now. I wear a little bit of makeup too. I feel better with, but I used to feel better with, but now I think I don't like taking off my eye makeup. And then I have the raccoon eyes and stuff. And I think I'm being easier on my face. So I'm just okay in my skin. I also grew up with a mom who never let him see a sweat. She always dressed to the nines and
Yep.
always wears makeup to this day. If I come to her house, she's got makeup on. So maybe that's just my way of just wanting to be free. I don't
Yeah,
know.
see, I
Yeah.
used to, dress to the nine, the makeup, the hair. Even when I lived in Chicago, I was a blonde. I would go and get my hair blow dried every week because of the humidity. And if it rained, oh my gosh, I was a nut job. But you get to the point where, and I think COVID did this to me also. I just didn't care. I could look like a homeless person sometimes, but it's just sort of like, look, I'm never going to see you people again. And if I do, then you're going to see what I look like in real life.
But do you
And
like
it's
me for that or that I'm dressed to the nines?
exactly, exactly. I mean, I still like my heels and I still like to,
Yeah.
but I dress for me.
Yeah,
I dress not for society, not for what I'm supposed to wear. Um,
agreed. Agreed. And like if I'm at a place where people are dressed fancier than me, I'm like, just okay. I'm like, don't compare yourself. I'm only in competition with me. And someone's always gonna look whatever if I think better, but it's like, it doesn't matter. Like I just want to be real. This is me. This is how I dress. I try to be a good person. I try to help people, you know, like me, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated, I heard too.
oh, I like that.
And yeah, I don't know who made that up. It wasn't me, but that I like. And were we talking about religion a teeny bit or God a little bit?
I'm all about talking about
Okay, okay,
God.
okay. Here's a cool thing too. I like to share. If it's meant to be, it's God's direction. If it's not meant to be, it's God's correction.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I say that to myself. I'm like, okay, Julie, you're not supposed to be doing this. Can't you tell it's not working? you
And there's
know?
also there's no such thing as a coincidence.
Correct. And like, you were asking me, like, do you, like, why? Like, I'm like, I really want to drop my mask. I trust me, we're on the same page. Our experiences have been different, but there's some things alike. Like, I mean, there's some feelings like I'm just sick of being small. I'm sick of being, there's some commonalities too that
Well,
I
and
think a lot
yeah,
of people suffer from, by the way.
absolutely. And when you and I feel that sometimes, and I'm talking about women,
Hmm.
um, because I happen to be one,
Yep.
that where we might be afraid to drop that mask because we would become little. However, we're
Hmm.
little when we have all those masks on. When we don't have a
Hmm.
mask on, we become a larger person because we have our personality. It might be an introvert, but it's still big. It's
Yes.
still like that person is who they are.
Yes.
And, but it's trying to figure out who you are.
I know. Isn't
And
it
you don't
cool
have,
though? It's
huh?
cool, right? It's kind of cool to figure out. I'm
It's
like,
very cool
wow,
because
this is
you
really,
don't have to define who you are because tomorrow you're going to be changing again. It's like
yeah.
corporations. I mean, when I'm working with job seekers, like I hate change management. Oh God, they've changed. I'm like, how do you think businesses stay in business? You got to continually change. Yes, sometimes you got to get rid of people. Sometimes you got to get rid of products, but you're constantly changing. We're doing the same thing with ourselves. We're
Hmm.
constantly changing. Sometimes we get rid of people that aren't working for us and they're not bringing anything to our table.
Hmm.
Or we realize that we don't really like them. I mean, it's like
Hmm.
they might not be bringing anything to us, but we don't really have anything in common with them.
Hmm.
Or we just say, hey, you know something? I don't want to wear a suit anymore. That's not who I am anymore. I'm going to be in the
Hmm.
boho looking type of thing
Hmm.
and wear
Hmm.
braids and,
Hmm.
piece things.
Yeah.
We don't have to stay the same because it's the ebb and flow of life, and we're
Yeah.
constantly finding bits and pieces. We're a puzzle, and we're
Hmm.
putting these bits and pieces together because now we don't have that mask on us that's just
Hmm.
holding solid over our face, and we're walking like robots.
Yeah. Now we can see who we really are because we were hiding from ourselves too,
True.
right?
So I'm big, and one of these days I'll get it up here, but I love Jelly Roll. Love, love, love Jelly Roll. I can sit and listen to this man forever
Hmm.
because he's so heartfelt of where
Hmm.
he came from, what he's
Hmm.
done, and who he is. And plus, my God, he's married to an ex prostitute who is a rock star. But
Unapologetically them.
exactly. I mean, they're just so he talks about a poem. It's called The Man in the Glass.
Hmm.
And it's about everybody else is going to judge you,
Hmm.
but it doesn't matter. It's the man in the glass. That's who you have
Hmm.
to answer to.
Mm.
And so when people go, well, that person, doesn't like me or whatever, or they have an issue, I had a business coach. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he will always say, don't cater to your haters, thank them.
Mm.
Because your hater is actually looking in their mirror and what they're
Hmm.
seeing, and they're seeing you, they're going to
Hmm.
hate you
Hmm.
because they're not there yet.
Hmm.
So to know that, okay, that person doesn't like me. Okay, so I mean, I've been blessed or cursed. I don't know. Most of my friends either didn't like me when they first met me. when I was younger. Now I'm pretty much, because I have no mask. But then they got to know me.
Yeah.
And my dad used to call me a burnt marshmallow, very crispy on the outside, but once you got through that crispiness, I'm soft. I will, bend over backwards for people. I'm very, very loyal to the fault sometimes. No, it's not to the
Hmm.
fault. It's just who I am. I treat people the way I want to be treated just because
Hmm.
I wore that mask for so long
Hmm.
and that I see the struggles that women go through.
Yes. It's sad.
And you having the two daughters, I'm sure
Yes.
it could be hard for you to say, hey, drop the mask. You don't have to be that. But they have to go through their own journey, I'm sure.
I've got one mass dropper and one not. Hmm. We got to
But
be
that's,
okay with ourselves. It takes time to learn, right?
and we're learning every day.
I
We're
know.
learning every day. So tell me, okay, so you started writing the book. So tell
Yes.
tell the audience about your book and how it came about and how my oath to it's backwards.
A worthy life.
There you go.
Sorry.
My oath to worthy life. Um, because I know a lot of my friends, and most of them are retired cops or retired ATF, FBI, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I always wonder how they remember all the details. Um, but writing a book, even though I am told all the time that I should write a book, I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
I'd rather have conversations. It's like I can't do that. So
Yeah.
tell me about the journey
Yeah.
and why all of a sudden you like woke up one morning and said, I'm going to write this book. And now I'm going to go, you just disappeared on me. Are you still
Yes,
there?
sorry. I had
There
a
you
phone
go.
call. I apologize. I was
That's
trying to
okay.
get out of it.
Um,
Yeah,
how you
this
just,
was,
you woke up one morning and said, this is what I'm going to do. And then how you did it. And you've been on TV and
oh, thank you. Been about it was about a 7-year journey. And I think it was around that cruise time. I'm like, something in my body said, you have to write a book. And by the way, my book isn't like you were talking about those people that, okay. The people that, they have all these details and stuff. Mine are just like general lessons. I've got in my book, it's about all my family members. Um,
did you get their
and
approvals to have that in there?
pretty much.
Okay.
If I didn't,
You apologize
because
afterwards.
well, I have, some people, if they didn't honor it, I put in a different name, kind of thing, because I didn't want to,
Right.
for instance, my ex-husband, his name is, just to be
Yeah.
courteous of that. Um, but yeah, most everyone, but I've got parents that will never disown me, which I appreciate it. But I had to write this book. I had to. Um, and it's just, like I said, my journey, it's not about blaming anyone. Everyone did, I believe, the best they can. I did the best I can too, but when you know better, you do better, like we talked about. And this is just
Or at
from
least
my
try.
journey, what?
I said, or at
What?
least try.
Try, yeah, and
Yep. There you go again.
call. How funny is
There,
that?
there you go.
Anyway, so um yeah, so some days I'm a better me, some days I'm not as good. Like some days I'm 50%, I'm 100%, depending on your day or the mood or if I'm tired or whatever, right? Or hangry. Anyway, but yeah, this book I found, it just was a journey in itself. It's like, do I write this book? And someone said to me that knows me really well, she said, Julie, I've known you like 30 years. And she said, I know that you would not write a book to try to slam people. It's just not your personality. I'm trying to help people. So I decided to do it anyway. It was strong inside me to write this book. And again, it's just my truth. It's just my truth and how my life turned out by my truth. Everyone
I
has their
love
own
it.
truths kind of thing. So, I found like this editor who ended up not being the right editor. I found another editor, like I just had this weird journey of people and by the way, I don't consider myself a writer and I'd rather talk like you, but my book, look, this is my book. It's tiny, tiny book. Um, there was,
Yeah, but I'm sure
anyway,
it's packed with a lot of information that
I
people can
think
relate to.
so. I hope so. I've heard some good reviews even from some guys that read it that was pretty touching. They're like, "Wow, it was just really real of you and I commend you for doing it." And for some reason, kind of like what you're doing here. I mean, you're owning your stuff and you're doing your stuff, right? I mean, and you're being raw. Let's be raw and real, right? And I finally found the right editor. Um, a friend of mine who wrote a book, I said, "Who did you use?" So she guided me. She said, "Self-publish on Amazon, so you can get it on Amazon." And I found this editor who said, "We're going to write this book in 3 months, dear," because I had it all over the place, and it was written. It just needed to be cleaned
Right.
up. It
Right.
took me 6 months, but I did it, and it's done. And I did have a little book signing. It was very nice. It was at Purify. Purify is a clean air place. It's about clean air. You know how clean water is. I mean, it's
Mhm.
a show me place. So, but we're their first Oakley's Oath, which I'll go back and say. But
Yep.
Oakley's Oath is Purify's first nonprofit affiliate. So we work together because we have the same kind of vertical market, saving lives. So going back from my book, I added a chapter because I had a tragic accident happen when we had a roofer come to our home. We had a roofer who didn't tell us they were going to put a tarp on our pool. Our dog Oakley, named after sunglasses because my husband's an eye doctor. Um, the surface, they put a plastic tarp on our pool. It must have looked different to him, solid. So he fell in. I let them out like always. They never showed any interest in the pool. I did go inside. I let my dogs out by the pool. I take full responsibility for my action, even though they never did it before. It takes one
Right.
time, which I learned. I heard two of my dogs barking. I ran out, tried to find Oakley. I saw him in the pool. I jumped in, tried to save him, and I was unable to. It was horrific. I pull him out of the pool. I find these guys. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you guys, my dog drowned." So I ran him to my vet, and I was 2 minutes away, or really 2 minutes ish away. And it was during COVID, so I couldn't even go in with them. But I threw him in. I said, "Please do something." They come out. They're like, I go, "Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know." It was horrific. It was horrific.
Well, that's because that's a
Um,
child.
it was
I
a child to me,
I mean,
and
I
I
have
know
2
it's
dogs. If
so
something I have one
they're
that I have to give
babies.
pills, and I mean, those are are four-legged. They give you the unconditional love. There's no they know you're oh, can't even imagine.
Dogs save lives, and I'll just say animals save lives for
Absolutely.
sure, 100%. And my dog was absolutely a family member. And I realize some dogs are just, some people think dogs are just dogs, whatever. You're on the same page as I am. I love them. They're people to me. Dogs are people too. But I do believe Oakley could have taken one for a child as well. So mine
Yeah,
was about a dog, a roof, and a pool, but it could have been a kid, a gate, and an exterminator. It could
right.
be you stepping on a nail.
Yep,
There's so many things that can happen. I believe we're the only ones that do what we're doing. This small piece, the homeowner and the service provider communicating, so less things will happen in the home. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a tarp on your pool. Do you want a tarp? I would leave if you have kids and dogs, I'd watch them. Like there has to be communication because everyone knows more about their trade. They know more about their trade than I do. I had no idea my roof and pool would have anything to do with each other. So that prompted me that day. I'm like, you know what? I thought of Oakley's Oath because it reminded me of like Amber Alert,
yeah.
keeping families and pets safe when service providers are in our home. So this is a big problem. I hear about it all the time. So anyway, that became a chapter in my book as well. And instead of being really angry with the roofers who I didn't think, took responsibility, I decided to just make it bigger and say, you know what? We're going to save lives anyway. And I'm just going to move forward and partner with whoever wants to partner with us, and they'll get more business too, saying we care more about keeping your family and pets safe first. And we do a great job instead of like, we
Right.
just do a great job. And we want to grab your money. Guess what? My roof doesn't leak, but I lost a dog. I'd rather have a leaky roof.
Absolutely.
So
So
this has been a labor of love.
you started a nonprofit from the beginning, from that.
Yes.
And how's that going?
I have
Nonprofits are tough.
lived and learned. And by the way, just so you know, um, we are getting there. I've made many mistakes, like finding love in all the wrong places. I've spent money in the wrong places, trusted the wrong people.
That's a
Um,
it's a business. I mean, that's
it
yeah,
is. And what we're trying to do, and I kind of copied this line you can have too from someone, we try to collect and connect good people. That's what Oakley's Oath is about. And it's about I absolutely need help. We absolutely need funders. I need grants, sponsors, whatever, volunteers. And we want to help people too. So it's not just, I definitely need help. We're still, um, I can't give Oakley's Oath more. I've been supporting it for, let's just say 3 soft years. And now we just have to find community because I can't do it alone.
Right.
And I found a lot of people that will help me. We're getting there, but it's been a journey. It's been a
Well, and
journey,
you
and it's
also
not
have
as
to
easy as I
you
thought
have to
either.
you have to trust. And unfortunately, I have
Yeah.
found out there's a lot of scammers out there, especially grant writers, um, because this is something that you could do nationally.
I know. I know. And if you, I want this to go national. I want to be on the Today Show. I want it be in People. I want this to go. This is a national. It's an international problem, but absolutely. So whoever has any ideas how you can go national, because I have one life, and this is really important. This happens all the time, and everyone puts this under the rug. I'm like, this is kind of like my life. I
Right.
don't want to put this under the rug. This is a problem. It's not a problem until it happens to you. So yeah.
Well, and that's where now you're completely maskless because you're showing the good, the bad, and saying, something, I'm taking what happened that could happen to anybody, and I'm sharing it so it won't happen to other people. Plus, you're helping other, providers to be more transparent. Because I bet you a lot of those providers wouldn't think about saying that. They're there to do
No.
the job. They're not there to have this conversation with the homeowner. Like, okay,
Yeah,
well,
they're like, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Like I'm sorry, you continue.
no,
Sometimes
no,
I
you
talk
go.
over. I
Yeah,
talk
go ahead.
over. That's something I do.
So do I do.
I gotta work on
I
that.
interrupt, so don't worry about it.
No, I
No,
do
go
too.
ahead.
They're so busy about getting the job, like, okay, we need these cans, we need this colored paint, we need whatever. They're not thinking about the other stuff. And there's so much that can happen. Like a friend was telling me that she had a painter and they found some razors in their rocks in their backyard, and they have a little son that could have stepped on it. So what you do is you say, you know what? We are gonna try to pick everything up. There might be nails, razors, whatever. Please look, we're going to do our best, but just make us aware because they're more the experts. And I believe the expert has the, forgot my word, but is knows more. So they need to tell the homeowner what they need to know, because I don't know about painting. I don't know about roofing. I didn't know, there's so much, and there's so much communication gaps even when you communicate too.
Well, and plus if you got a roofer, they're the people that are working for them.
Yes.
They're just getting their wages. They're
Yes.
just, and they're not, it's
Yes.
not their business. So
No.
it's really the business owner to do it. And that's a tough thing to do, is to ingrain it into people's heads. Like,
Mhm.
this is somebody's home.
Yes.
It's also, I mean, a lot of these companies are not bonded, but that's the whole
Yes.
thing. If you're not bonded, have the communication. If you're bonded,
Yes.
you're going to get your ass sued.
Yes. Yeah, so that's been an interesting lesson that I just, I had no idea about this because I've had millions of service providers in my house. I consider myself a helicopter mom and dog mom, and this was a cue I missed. When contractors come in your home becomes a hazard because different things happen than normally would in your home.
Right.
So
Right.
it's been a humbling journey. I thought it would take off quicker. People believe in it. They know it's a problem, but I just have to, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I know it's
That's all you can
important.
do. That's all you can do, is continue to get it out there. Yes, you're going to have lots of people who are behind you, yet they won't do anything. Um, I think this is a great idea. Yay, yay, yay. Oh, I'm not going to even promote you or
Thank
network
you.
for you. No,
Or
and that, and
or some green stuff, or give you me
right.
yeah,
But
like, oh, it's great. Yeah.
that's when you
Yeah.
just accept them for who they are, because they don't
Absolutely.
know how to be a certain way, or it is what it is. And that's where it goes back to, when we start treating people the way we want to be treated, because we don't know their whys.
Yeah.
And if we ask their whys, they might not even want to know. They might not want to know, and they might not know.
Yeah.
So that's when you're like, well, should I ask them why they're not promoting me, or why they're not staying, walking this with
Exactly.
me? Or do I really want them to? So it goes back to, are these the people that I need in my circle? Or do I just need them outside of the circle, hanging out and watching me succeed?
Here's something I want to share with you on that note. I have to call myself on something. I don't have time for everyone else's stuff. I'm
No,
very busy doing my stuff.
right.
And I hope that maybe some people are like, well, you don't help me with my stuff. I don't know. I'm just trying to be honest. But I'm so busy trying to get my mission going. This is really important to me. And I'm trying to make a difference. And it's a big focus for me right now.
And that's not being selfish. It's being selfless.
I
It's
think
being
so because it's not
we
for
have
me. Trust me. This is a pain. I put money into
right.
this like you wouldn't believe.
But
It's
you're
so
being
important.
but you're thinking for yourself to get the mission out.
Yes.
So that's not being selfish. That's not
Thank
being
you.
where I can't help you because I'm doing my gig. My gig is helping other people. So you
Thank
are
you.
helping other people, just
Thank
not
you.
in the way that they want you to help them. And so not to take on that guilt like, hey, you know something? I'm pretty busy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so unless you want to jump on my bandwagon and give me your two
Yeah.
cents of helping me go forward to help
Yeah.
other people,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's when you just, you accept them
Right. Where they're
and
at.
not judge them.
Hmm.
And because we don't want to be judged, and just
Mm-mm.
say, hey, you'll eventually get where I'm at.
Hmm.
And believe me, being taken down that mask, it can be
A lot.
lonely.
It
And it
is.
can be
It
very
is.
lonely.
Absolutely.
You find
Agreed.
out you will find out who your friends are. You will find
Yes.
out who you thought were your close friends were really just
Hmm.
acquaintances.
Hmm.
And then you will find out also with family members as well that people you really thought would step up, they don't. But that's not, to me, I've learned that I cannot go, oh, what's their freaking problem? It's where they're at in their life.
100%.
Yeah. So, um, anyway, I just want to thank you for having this conversation.
Thank
We
you.
definitely have to get together for coffee. And then everybody listening to Drop This Mask, everybody's stories matter. Our voice is power. We have power. We tend to give our power away, but once we start speaking our truth, it is very powerful and it's very vulnerable. And vulnerability is not a weakness, it's power. Um, every day when we choose to show up as our true self, we give others permission to do the same. So let's keep on rising,
Mhm.
keep healing, and never forget your strength is taking off that mask and being vulnerable. So thank you, Julie. I appreciate you, and I'm
Thank you
excited for
so much.
your for this mission.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's oakleysoath.com, but I definitely want to grab coffee with you. I definitely felt like we're kindred spirits when I saw
We're
your
good.
stuff. So
We're good.
thank
We're
you so
good.
much